We're working. We're in the lab, and we're gonna make sure this happens as soon as possible.
Welcome to an episode of the Sports Genes Into the Lab podcast, where sports analysts and experts dissect the latest news from the NBA and NFL, giving you a unique view on some of the hottest topics around your favorite teams. From the fresh field smells of the NFL to the hardwood courts of the NBA, and possibly your comfy couch for your fantasy football team. Let's see what kind of news the lab is working with today. Here's your host from the Sports Analytics headquarters in San Antonio, Texas, Ernest Silva.
I am absolutely hyped to do today's episode. We're still in the playoffs and we're still talking Dallas Cowboys football. I can't get enough of it. It's not about me today. It's about Dak Prescott. We're going to talk about that in just a moment. But I am your host, Ernest Silva. At Into Lab Pod is where you're seeing tonight's episode at the beautiful Into Lab movie studios in San Antonio, Texas. It's not about me today, guys. We're going to talk NFL football mostly the entire night. But let's start off with my season 4 co-host, Kenny Cotterill. What's up, brother?
I'm just happy for anyone that got to see their team win this weekend. A lot of good games as well. A lot of high-scoring games as well. Kirk Cousins is a fraud.
Ouch.
Justin Jefferson's still going to win Offensive Player of the Year, though. I need to pay my mortgage. And, appreciate you having me on.
Of course, brother. Of course. Really glad to have you. And the season 4 winner of ITL Pick'em. That's right. Andrew Con Sutton back on ITL again. What's up, man?
It's like a hot streak we're on right now, Ernest. I'm about it. Man, what a great weekend of football. Holy hell, that's at the bar. Wildcard weekend, we talked about it last week. Always so damn fun, and that continued. Looking forward to breaking down and dissecting some games from last week into this week. Let's go, boys.
Awesome. And the man who's actually been the hottest in ITL Pick'em right behind you, Andrew, is going to be Just Luke joining us. What's up, brother?
What's up, my guys? Can't wait to talk some sports today. Can't wait to hear some takes today. Can't wait to see what this highly leaning slight left Dallas Cowboys podcast has turned into now. See what this is about.
Yeah, we have to. It's a playoff podcast at this point. Tech overhype. No, not at all. Not at all. I'm looking forward to talking to you, Chris. But I am very excited for tonight's episode. Of course, we want to do a shout out to all of our sponsors. We're entering the final episodes of the NFL season. Blue Collar Media Group, powered by Blue Collar Media Group, the mothership of ITL. New Wave Designs, Taquito Express, Triple Double Basketball Academy. We can't forget about any. And of course, if you're placing your bets this week, that's right, BetUS. Put in code BCMG. Get us all in there. $50 entry gets $50 back to this show. We appreciate all of your support.
Yeah, right there.
There we go. We're living the high life here.
Yeah.
Let's start things off with round 1. Just like we did last week, we're going to go right into reacts. That's right. Super Wildcard React. Let's go to the Saturday night headlines here in San Antonio. Bills escape and Niners had no doubt. That was the Saturday games. In case you missed it this weekend, the Buffalo Bills had a doozy. Gave up the lead in the third quarter. The Miami Dolphins without Tua. And the Niners ran away with that game and blew out the Seattle Seahawks. Guys, which game was more impressive to you? I'll start this off with you, Andrew.
Yeah, I'm going to go with the Bills barely escaping, man. That was wowzer. Skylar Thompson was, a rookie quarterback going in with that kind of pressure against the Buffalo Bills. We all talked about it last week. We said the Bills should rout them by 40. This isn't even going to be close. I do believe we all said 1 million, plus $1 million in the cover. Man, I'm telling you right now, the Bengals are going to beat this. They're going to beat the Bills. The Bills do not care for the ball. Josh Allen tries to do too much at too many times. And the Miami defense stood up when they had to. A couple of picks, a big fumble recovery to start the quarter off in the third. And I was like, wow, like Miami has a lead. Like this shouldn't be happening at all, especially when Tyreek, Jalen Waddle, and Mike Gesicki had unbelievably terrible drops the entire time, and they couldn't get anything going offensively. The Bills are in trouble. The Bengals are going to beat them. The Niners, cakewalk.
Love it, love it, love it. Let's talk to you, Just Luke. Which game did you watch the most Saturday?
I mean, I watched the Cincinnati Ravens game more just because it was my division, but I mean, the Ravens are in deep shit. I mean, some deep stuff. I mean, even, Lamar didn't even come on the flight to Cincinnati. He didn't even make the flight to Cincinnati. So like, it's a huge chicken and egg situation with them right now. The whole offense surrounds Lamar, and any other quarterback, it doesn't work. And the Baltimore Ravens don't really know success without Lamar. I mean, you proved it this year with Tyler Huntley. He was a serviceable backup last year, but those numbers did not translate a year later because there's film on him now. So a lot of teams played him tight. And I mean, it was a nail biter. I give the Ravens credit. You know, that huge fumble recovery, obviously by Sam Hubbard, changed the game and inevitably sealed the game for him. But that defense still for the Cincinnati Bengals stepped up, which is huge for them. We knew the offensive line was getting better. They still didn't look great. They're now missing Alex Karras, I do believe. So that hurts them in the long run, but that defense stepped up in a huge way. And I think that's a huge step forward, especially for them.
Yeah, the Ravens-Cincinnati game was absolutely fun to watch. You just see, when it comes to division opponents, you just don't know what's going to happen in playoff games. The third time's a charm, literally, in the playoffs. Kenny, you got to watch both of these. You had money on the line. How did you feel about these games for the people who won?
I'm trying not to panic too much about Buffalo because I kind of saw this with Kansas City last year, where I think they get so comfortable that they can just pour 21 points in a row on anyone that they just kind of get stagnant. Like, they went up 17-0. Game looked like it was basically over and that they were going to rout them. And then things just started happening and all the bounces started going Miami's way. And luckily they were playing a Tua-less Miami. Otherwise they would likely be heading home. Now they get a real test in the Bengals, but we can't kid ourselves. The Bengals didn't look great either. They looked pretty pedestrian against a Baltimore team that they were more than a touchdown favorite against. And if it weren't for a Sam Hubbard 98-yard fumble return touchdown, we might be talking about Cincinnati being that team that went home as well. So I think they both got their scare. We're going to have a really exciting matchup between these two. As far as the Niners go, again, I think it was just, you were pretty comfortable. I know it's a division opponent, but you're expected to dog walk them. First half doesn't go your way, and then they kind of poured it on. Brock Purdy won't get enough credit for throwing for 332 and 3 touchdowns, no picks, because he has the best roster probably in this playoffs. But he played really well. He's doing exactly what he's supposed to do, which is get the ball in the hands of the playmakers, don't turn it over, and you're going to have a ton of success, especially when you have that defense. So all the teams that were supposed to win, because they were all more than touchdown favorites, at the end of the day, they're advancing. It doesn't have to look pretty. It just matters that they're moving on, and we get to see a couple of them square off this week.
Going to be honest, I forgot to mention this when we started talking, but Andrew went perfect 6-0 this weekend on his picks. So congratulations to Andrew, still continuing that hot streak. The Valley Morning Star didn't hold back. Kirk, not again, and Bengals take care of business. I actually like the Kirk not again headline, and then the back page being Bengals take care of business. But let's talk Vikings, right? I was hyped that I thought the Vikings would break the streak here, and Kirk delivers another mediocre performance, and the Vikings end up blowing this game to the Giants. The Giants had absolutely masterful plan, high energy right from the beginning. They kept the tempo going. Saquon Barkley looked the same coming out of the regular season. He looked healthy. He looked great. I'm really excited for the Philly Giants matchup this weekend, and we're going to talk a lot about that in just a moment. And Kirk Cousins, even though he wasn't a primetime game, still couldn't perform and get over that hump. I won't go around the room on this one because, I mean, we just beat a dead horse with this one, but anything stand out to you different about the Vikings? It's kind of the same old Vikings, same old story. They just can't perform in the spotlight.
We're not putting this on Kirk, are we?
I'm not putting this on Kirk at all. This is not his fault. That defense was atrocious.
31 of 39 for 273, 2 touchdowns, no picks.
That's a flawless game.
Defense gave up 31 to a team that averages 21 on the year. And we're putting it on Kirk?
Not a chance. Not me. Nope.
I just think if you're in the play, I mean, the quarterback is the captain. If you're going to win a playoff game, you blame it on the guy who's not able to score enough points to beat the other team.
How about we call it on play calling?
I'm gonna blame O'Connell.
Yeah.
That's tough.
I absolutely can put it on O'Connell because let's face it. Now, one, if you do look at the replay at the last check down play, he had Justin Jefferson. He did.
Yeah.
He just missed him. I give him that. Like, I'll give you that response. Justin Jefferson touched the ball one time in the second half.
Yeah.
That's unacceptable.
That's my problem with it.
But that's play calling.
Bad. Dalvin Cook didn't touch the ball. Like, the play calling was suspect, to say the least.
Is Justin Jefferson CeeDee Lamb?
Better.
He's
better?
than
That's what I'm saying. That's what I'm saying. Okay, is he on the same tier as CeeDee Lamb?
No. They're on the same tier.
Do you put him on the same tier as like a Devontae Adams or a Tyreek Hill? Just somebody who, if you get him the ball, he explodes.
He's top 5.
Top 5 for sure.
Then to me, you just get him the ball.
Correct.
And that's Kirk Cousins. Kirk Cousins it's your first option every play. It should be.
It should be.
My thing is TJ Hawkinson should not have 10-129 and Justin Jefferson's.
But it makes sense though.
Unbelievable. You double team him and you get Hawkinson wide open. That was the game plan. If Hawkinson's standing there, Kirk was perfect in that aspect. Hawkinson got big chunk plays when they needed it, and Double J was double coverage. So what do you I mean, I know we can say that it comes down to Kirk and using the offense, but
I'm just not going to move the goalposts for a quarterback. If it was Dak, it'd be the same conversation. It's on Dak.
Dak would be getting
First of all, we're not going to compare Kirk and Dak because Kirk's been there more than Dak, right?
Fair.
Okay. Second, that defense couldn't stop a nosebleed. Put a shadow on fucking Danny Dimes. That's all you had to do was just shadow the guy.
Arguably, the Vikings had probably one of the top 3 linebacker cores in the NFL.
Correct.
They could not shadow him.
No.
That they absolutely killed on the ground with him. It inevitably cost them.
In the NFL playoffs, you have to get to another tier to win the playoffs. Offense and defense.
And this is a big thing for the Giants, though. But how many times at 3rd and 8, or even let's say 2nd and 7, did Danny Dimes take off and not one defender could stop that
close?
I think he had 80 or 90 yards rushing, and I think most of those were all for first downs. Literally, like it was insane how well Danny was reading the field. And I will give him props. We, as a society, as football fans, have been shitting on Daniel Jones for 4 straight years with good reason as to why. But this playoff game, I'm like, pay that guy. The Giants
got a contract.
need to get
for the
paid.
Contract, yeah.
He got a contract after that game.
He's no longer Danny Two Nickels, but he'll be Danny.
5 picks all year.
He's still 2 nicks.
I mean, Saquon Barkley, though, boys, I talked about it. I said he's going to be the biggest reason they win this game, and damn, was I right.
You were right. You were right. Kenny, you're awfully quiet. I'll give you a 30-second take on the Vikings.
No, I just think your defense was putrid like it's been all season long, and we're going to put it on Kirk when, I don't know, who else's defense has made plays this weekend to get them wins? Because
nobody's.
Buffalo certainly did. Buffalo's made plays. The Bengals returned a 98-yard touchdown.
I guess that's true. Cincinnati did have a 98-yard score.
I'm just saying, like other defenses stepped up and made plays. You had no turnovers on a team that, let's face it, the offense had plenty of turnovers this year on the Giants side of things. You're going to have to revamp that defense. There's nothing wrong with this offense. They put up 24 points, which when you're playing a team, once again, that averages 21 points per game on the season, you should win that game. And they didn't do it. And now Kirk's going to go home. As he said, it's the toughest loss of his career. But I don't think that he played poorly enough to put even the majority of blame on him. Sure, you can put a little bit because Jefferson didn't get the ball enough, but he's not the one that gave up 31.
Yeah, I just put Kirk Cousins and CP3 on the same level. They're usually a great player on the team, but they're just not the reason they lose when it comes to the playoffs.
But we know that Kirk's not a top 10 quarterback. Like, we're acting like he's supposed to be. And
he was part of a division-winning Vikings team. It's probably their best roster since he's been on the team.
This is a fraudulent roster, though.
That's his best offense. certainly not the best defense he's had. The Vikings defense.
I mean, the way they performed this year, they're statistically probably one of his top defenses.
I don't know about that. I think they need to completely revamp this offseason when it comes to the defensive side of things. Maybe just go hire Mike Zimmer to do what he should have done for 10 years for the Vikings.
But I mean, if you look at them, they're old.
They are.
NFL,
Patrick
terms,
Patterson.
Patrick Peterson is old.
Zadarius
They just lost Xavier Rhodes to Dallas. He was old. Like, this defense, Lance Kendricks ain't young. Like, all these guys are like young guys here.
31st in total yards, 28th in points per game, and 31st against the pass.
Yeah,
that's a bottom 5 defense in the league this year. That really won a lot of close games because the offense made some plays. They had a lot of things that were lucky that went their way. Let's not forget that Buffalo game. And then they come in as a 2 seed, quote unquote, or a 3 seed, quote unquote. And they're just not on the level of those other teams. Like Minnesota going into the playoffs, you probably would have put them as the 5th best team in the NFC if you took record out of it. If you went in comfortably, at best the 4th. Because they're behind Dallas, they're behind Philly, they're behind San Fran, and you probably would have put them behind the Giants because they're so well coached.
Maybe. That's a top 10 defense in takeaways, though. I think it's just speculation at this point. We can argue all day. All right.
Points. I don't care.
We can argue all day. We can argue all day. All right, let's go to the main headline, which everybody's been waiting for. Austin Chronicle, the perfect Dak Prescott. It's absolutely what it was. 5 touchdowns total. He had a handful of incompletions and just game managed the hell out of that game. Did very Tom Brady-esque to Tom Brady, who looked absolutely putrid, who was asked to throw the ball 66 times, which is crazy. But the Dallas Cowboys move on to face the San Francisco 49ers. We could spend all day on this topic, but let's talk a little bit about Dak Prescott and his performance. I'm not going to overhype him like Chris is saying. I am going to say right now he played the perfect game. He played a fantastic game. Other than the first drive, there were not many mistakes that he made. He did it on the ground. He did it through the air. He did it in clutch situations on 3rd and 4th down. I had Dalton Schultz in Baby Bowl, and he got me all the way to 6th place for the week, which was phenomenal because he got the 2 scores, had me 20 points in the first half. The Dallas Cowboys look like they're playing Dallas Cowboys football. Set the pace. Make sure you get it to your tight ends and to your wideouts. Dak Prescott did it, guys. I can go all day, but Luke, you're unbiased, so I'm going to go to you. How did you feel about the Dallas Cowboys' performance in Dak Prescott?
Tampa's terrible. So we'll just get that off the register. That's a ghost of Christmas past. Tom Brady, that's a ghost of Christmas past. Offense and defense. I mean, they were just so bad. But I give credit where credit's due. Dallas has won their first playoff game probably since I was born. So thank God for that. Thank God for that. Dak looked good. They gave the ball to Pollard and Zeke and they got their yards. Thank goodness. T.Y. Hilton, even though he's 50, he still caught a couple balls. Why not? You know, the offense moved at will, and that's what they needed to do. So it was, you know, it's a playoff win, is a playoff win, and I'm not going to poo-poo that. But I just can't wait to just keep pumping them up all week, and we'll see what happens on Sunday when they have to go to San Francisco.
So I get the terrible Tampa Bay takes, right? Like that was going to happen if the Cowboys won. Like everybody was going to say that. It's Tom Brady. Even if Tom Brady was 60, it's the GOAT, and you play against him, and every analyst on TV.
I picked Tampa. Yeah, I picked Tampa.
Yeah, everybody took the Bucks
to win this game.
Yeah.
So you can't say after the Cowboys win that, oh, it's a bad team. Because I hate that shit. They're good enough to be the best in the worst division, right? Even the NFC least the last 5 years got in.
The tallest on the short bus.
So,
all right.
And let's put to bed that the Cowboys haven't won a playoff game since the 90s. They've won 3 in 7 years, okay? And this is their first road playoff game since 93. Okay, we get that. That's been 30 years. We get that, okay? They hadn't won in those jerseys in, I think, 65 years. So, okay, we get it. We get it, okay? Yeah. Those are big. Okay, Kyle, I want you back on the show next week. All right, I want to see you in the comments next week,
My boy.
and then stick around for our picks.
Oh
because
man, I wish. Oh god, I wish Steve was on.
I wish Steve was here to see that.
I
But
know.
stick around because you're going to hear our picks
love
in a
it,
bit and
Kyle.
how we're feeling about San Fran Dallas right after the commercial break. Hate it all I want, it's the truth. I don't know what's the truth. Express, Chris, because at this point, if Tom Brady would have played, I don't know, if they had somehow been the 3 seed, would they have beaten the Giants? Probably not. Right?
I think the Giants still beat them.
If they would have beaten the
Probably
Seahawks,
not, just because of the pass
maybe they
rush.
beat the Seahawks. Maybe they beat the Seahawks.
They probably should beat the Seahawks.
So at best, Tampa Bay is the 6th best team in the playoffs. Then Dallas was supposed to win, I guess, technically, statistically. But again, so much pressure on the Cowboys because they don't win these games.
Correct.
So, I mean, take it for what it's worth. There was so much pressure on Dallas, and that's over with. We're going to see what they do this weekend. I'm going to stop talking so I can let Andrew and Kenny give their takes on the Cowboys. Kenny.
I mean, yeah, you won the game that you were supposed to, and well, what? You won the game that you were supposed to, and now, like, if the expectation this year was we were supposed to get super fired up about a wild card weekend win, then we got different expectations of this team.
Agreed.
Because you've got playmakers on the defensive side, you've got a top 10 quarterback, you got a great running game, solid O-line and weapons. You should expect to make it to an NFC championship game. Now they get their toughest test of the year against San Fran. On the Tampa side of things, whether Tom retires or not, doesn't really matter. Todd Bowles is a coordinator, not a head coach. Everyone knows that. He has been since we saw his first stint with the Jets and how well that went. He's a good defensive coordinator. Didn't know how to run the offense. Tom's throwing balls into the dirt. Shout out to Dallas for, besides missing 4 extra points, played a near flawless football game. So
that's the point, though.
And that's fine.
That's the point.
But I'm not poo-pooing on the win. I'm just saying, like, okay, so we took care of business in the wild card round. But if we're gonna get all fired up about beating Tampa Bay, like, it wasn't about winning one playoff game with this group. Jerry isn't about winning one playoff game. Jerry's about Super Bowls. He talks about it in the media every single day that this is what Dallas is expected to do, is to win Super Bowls. Now you got to go and beat San Fran, who's won, 11 games in a row?
11 in a row.
If Parsons can go and create some pressure on Purdy, start making this guy panic a bit, we'll see what he's made of. And if at the end of the day San Fran wins, well, then maybe Brock Purdy's for real, and they got to have some serious conversations in the offseason. If Dallas goes on and win, we get an all-NFC East NFC championship.
That's right, which we will discuss in a moment. Andrew, give your 30-second take.
I just love all these hot takes from these people watching this show right now. Because Dallas loses this game, the first thing that we're going to hear about is Cowboy fans. Typical Cowboys losing in the first round, can't win a playoff game. I'm sick of that shit. The narrative has changed, boys. This is a legit team. They were 12-5. They came off a bad loss against Washington, and that sat bad, real bad with this organization. They tweaked off that offensive line. Jason Peters came in, played a couple of great downs, got hurt. I was a little scared. But when he's on the field, Tony Pollard is so damn explosive. I don't know how anybody shuts that down. And it's no surprise that Dak played his best game because he's been unbelievable when he loses. He has been clutch pretty much since he's become a Cowboy. A 4th round, not bad for a 4th round pick, right? Let's all agree. Not bad at all. My biggest thing is, I'm a little worried about some of the injuries on that defense. I don't know how banged up Mike is. I don't know how banged up Javon Curse is. I don't know how banged up Peters is. There's a lot of moving variables in this. But in order for the Cowboys, I will say this, in order for the Cowboys to win this game against San Francisco, DeMarcus Lawrence has to be an X factor. He was silent in this game. He had a couple chances to get to Tom, slipped on the one where they made that unbelievable little flick play. But Tank's just got to be a better player. Like, you can't just rely on Micah Parsons to go up there, down the gap every single goddamn play and expect them to win this game against San Francisco, who has a really good offense. So, ultimately, at the end of the day, I think we need to put some respect on Dak finally. Like, it has to happen at some point. And I know that everybody's like, well, again, you beat Tampa Bay. I don't give a shit who we beat. We won a playoff game on the road. It's the first time since '93, which is a huge accomplishment in itself. And let's not kid ourselves. Mike McCarthy also had to call a perfect game. So did Kellen Moore, especially after that disaster in Washington. So Cowboys did what they had to do. They beat Tom. Congratulations, Tom Brady. Unbelievable career. I hope he retires because he's goddamn fucking brutal. It's over. He's not Tom Brady anymore.
Yeah, I just got to say, it hasn't even been 24 hours, and we won a playoff game. We can't say that 27 of the last 30 seasons that we won a playoff
Facts,
game.
thank
I
you.
am gonna be excited. Thanks. All right, so we are gonna move on to a commercial break here. Do you know BCMG has their stream team? That is right, the BCMG stream team. You can catch them on Twitch.tv or Facebook Gaming. Go to their individual profiles when you see their name on this commercial. Let's roll it.
Yo, Jill going down the hill. Gonna go fetch Jack in his little pill. Jack feeling down and that's pretty bad. Let's go.
Oh! Yo! Clip that! Clip that headshot! Nice. No!
A pistol. What? Okay, that didn't count.
Woo! Let's go, baby! Clutch it up! Yeah, I like it!
What? No way! Did that precision just kill me?
Let's go!
Nice, Papa!
Papa with the clutch kill at the end. Let's go.
Oh, I missed. That was fast.
Got him.
Nice.
Man, I'm going to go steal their shit.
That is definitely green.
You're dumb and it's orange.
We're both wrong, red.
I could get that solo if I tried it a couple times, but we'll come back to it.
I'm fucking dick right now. Holy shit. Like, I fucking suck right now.
Yeah, I can tell.
The BCMG stream team, check them out on twitch.tv and Facebook Gaming today. All right, guys, round 2 is what you're here for. Round 2 is what you placed your bets on. We've had good weeks. We've had great weeks. We've hit this year. So let's talk.
We're not touching on Chargers.
Do you want to talk Chargers, Jags?
We have
Let's
to.
touch it. Let's
have
talk
to.
about it. Let's talk about it. I don't know why it wasn't in there. I guess
Sorry,
it's good.
I was just like, wait, we skipped over like
Yeah, let's.
the craziest playoff.
That's a very talkative.
Before we touch the picks, let's talk Chargers Jags. I'll insert the headline, but go ahead and start it off, Kenny, with that crazy 27-point turnaround by the Jags.
It's a tough one to like really break down because it's like, is it just a team had a really inspiring half of football, or did a team really just piss away a playoff win on the road? Because look, that is the first time, and I heard this today on, I think I was listening to Barstool Pick'em. This is the first time in NFL history that a team has been +5 in the turnover category and lost the game.
Crazy, man.
In NFL history, that's playoffs, regular season, whenever they've played, that's never happened. So, shout out to Lawrence he throws 4 picks, comes back, throws 4 touchdowns, shows a ton of grit, shows why he's the pick that we thought he should be as this generational talent. But shout out to his defense for also slowing down Herbert. At the same time, we love pumping up Justin Herbert, who's done nothing in his young career, but is apparently the next Andrew Luck. And he was awful in the second half. All he needed to do was score a point, and they go to overtime, a field goal, and they win the game. So I really don't know what to make of it. Does this mean that I think that the Jags have a great shot at the Chiefs? It's a lot of points where it's at. I don't know if they can win outright, but man, the Chargers going to Charger. And we said it kind of over the last month, even when they were trying to get into the playoffs, that Chargers at some point, and luckily they got in, but then it happens in the playoffs. So yeah, Staley, everyone's calling for his job. They probably should for future play calling. I think they ran it 8 times in the second half with a 27-point lead. when you have Austin Eckler back there. Very puzzling. And man, that's one of the crazier games that you'll see. To be honest, 27-0, turned it off, went to the gym, turned around. Wow, this is where we're at, hey? So crazy game. Loved watching it. Shout out to Tila on his first playoff win. Herbert's still waiting for his.
I mean, I'll give a shout out to you, Kenny, because you said it was going to happen, right? You were like, just watch. The Chargers are going to blow this somehow. And I didn't think it was going to be super wild card weekend. Yeah, I mean, we couldn't even use the Himbert. Isn't that what you're thinking?
Oh, man.
Yeah, there that goes.
Okay, you guys missed my tweet yesterday, too, because I said that he's definitely not Brett Mahim today.
No, that's a good one.
You guys missed that one.
That's
and Luke's glad that he missed it, but that's comedy for how poorly he played yesterday. But anyways, yeah, I mean, he was not Himbert. He was definitely Himbert. I don't know.
You can't get the opposite of Himbert. Well, just Himbert can't be used the rest of this season.
No.
But Andrew, Trevor Lawrence made a staple in the second half. Looked fantastic, right? Has people singing. Do you give Jags any shot this weekend?
Absolutely, I do. Are you coming off of probably one of the biggest wins in the franchise's existence, if not the biggest win? Trevor Lawrence is so good, and again, this is why I'm giving Doug Peterson a ton of credit, and I have all year. His game calling at the end of the game was unbelievable. This is a Super Bowl winning coach. Brandon Staley needs to be dumped tomorrow. That is the biggest throwaway I have ever seen, especially when officiating was very one-sided in the first half. Like, there were some plays there, especially, I mean, there was one where Zay Jones was standing there, and somehow Derwin James was able to jump over top of him, and that was not pass interference. They got the pick and they scored. I'm just like, what is going on? Like, nothing made sense. And then they got that touchdown at the end of the half, and I said, the Jags, I was with a bunch of buddies, I said, the Jags aren't done. And I knew that Peterson would draw up something at halftime and be like, listen, this is what we got to do. But this all comes down to Brandon Staley. What are you doing in week 18, where you're playing Mike Williams, right? We talked about this. Now he's out for 3 weeks, your best wide receiver, and it's not even close. And then you completely stop using Austin Eckler for game management, which is bananas. Who have, 17 touchdowns this year? Something impressive like that? It was insane. But they completely eliminated him. But, I mean, Doug Peterson, all in all, that was an amazing calling second half. Now, do they stand a chance against the Chiefs? Yes. Yes, I do. I think when you have a lot of momentum like that, that's scary. The Chiefs also like to fuck around a ton. And Jacksonville's defense is good. So we'll see what happens. But I'm telling you right now, if Staley has a job by the start of next year, the Chargers need to do some deep evaluation on that whole organization.
Justin Herbert loves Staley. I just don't know if they move on because
terrible,
so
dude.
Much. It's a strange.
Then make him an OC. But like, I'm telling you, just terrible.
They never do that. Just Luke, you have the final take. Did the Chargers blow it or the Jags play masterfully?
Chargers going to charge. 100%. I should have known, but I digress. This just goes to show how bad Urban Meyer is as a head coach in the NFL. I mean, this team was putrid last year. And relatively the same roster, they just won a playoff game. So that just goes to show you how good Doug Peterson is as an NFL head coach. Not going to say Trevor Lawrence looked great in the first half. They got me in the first half. He balled in the second half, no doubt in my mind. And Brandon Staley did his best, hey, I'm out of here, guys. See you, bye impression. And the Brinks truck just pulled into Sean Payton's house, and we'll see if he signs the contract.
Oh, wow. Well, we all know Sean Payton's going to Houston, but that's a whole different
Sounds like it.
Hey, so, when it came to that game, I watched it. I did a similar Kenny. I said, I'm going to step away from this game because this game is over.
I went to bed at 27-0.
I looked at
the
betting odds at halftime and I was like, man, plus 8,000 for Jags to win money line. I was like, that's so intriguing for Chargers to collapse. Did I drop 5? No. Would I be $400 richer? Absolutely. But did I do it? No. So I saved my money and look what happened. I lost, $395 worth of opportunities, but that's the kind of stuff I saw some of those bets, right? People are like, hey, like y'all, Chargers are going to charge, and they did it, right? And they got some money out of it. Huge kudos to those who cashed in on that play. But we're going to move on to this weekend's picks. Saturday afternoon, we are going right to Kansas City. Kansas City, 8.5-point favorites against those Jacksonville Jaguars. Jaguars riding the hot streak, coming in, making the playoffs, winning their first game, doing it with comeback fashion. Everybody's all over Trevor Lawrence. I'm going to start with you, Andrew. You've been riding that Jacksonville hype train. Where are you leaning on this play?
Continuing to run it, man. I'm telling you right now, we've seen it time and time again. When a team gets hot in the playoffs, look out. Remember the Ravens with elite Joe Flacco? Elite Joe Flacco got into the Super Bowl and won it. I mean, this team has all the momentum in the world going behind it. Again, everybody wrote them off. They shouldn't be in the playoffs. There's just so many storylines that are there. Does Trevor Lawrence have to be better with the ball? 1,000%. Do you not think he knows that? Look at his expressions in the first half as compared to the second. Body says it all, man. The biggest thing for them is that I really would like to see them get their running game started a little bit quicker. Now, I know they relied on the pass a lot because you're down quickly, but that shouldn't happen. I noticed in the first couple of drives that they didn't really use Etanier all that much. I mean, they weren't really, Trevor has the ability to get out of the pocket and move when he wants to. Dude's a big frame and he's pretty quick, but they just don't do it enough. And against a team like the Chiefs, where it's all about time management, you really have to do that in this game. So I'm looking forward to seeing how Doug Peterson calls up this game. I expect, and I love this, man. I'm going with the Jags. I think that defense in Kansas City is pretty suspect, and the Jags have just been tearing apart defenses in second halves. That's what they've been doing all year. Ask the Ravens how that went when they were up 28-3. So yeah, I'm gonna go with the Jags in this game. I know it's probably a popular or unpopular opinion, but hey, man, momentum is everything when you're in the playoffs.
What?
Yeah, Jacksonville money line, the first pick, upset
That
City.
scared the fuck out of me. Oh my god!
Jacksonville is the first. Just Luke, you're next since you're on the screen.
This is literally the first time I put headphones on all year, and that scared the fuck out of me. Oh my god! I mean, I'm going Chiefs. Chiefs. I mean, they don't have they don't have an answer for Travis Kelce. That is my main concern, and they don't have an answer for Travis Kelce. There's not a person on that team that can guard Travis Kelce. There's just not on that Jags team, in my opinion. So I mean, I think the Chiefs don't. I mean, I think the Chiefs win by 3. I don't think they win by more than that, but I mean, I think the Chiefs win.
Kenny, going over to you.
I mean, we're talking about momentum, but we're acting like the Chiefs stumbled into the playoffs. They did win 5 in a row to get into the playoffs. They beat the Jags by 10 earlier in the year before they went on their bit of a tear there. Chiefs went up 21-0, held on 27-17. So yeah, if I had to bet anything, you're probably going to want to go and bet the Chiefs spread in the first half. Probably bet Jags money line in the second half, but I just think there's going to be a little bit too much to overcome. I still believe that the Jags will cover this game because that's a lot of points. In fact, if you do like the Jags, you probably want to bet it now because by the time kickoff happens, people see 8.5. They really love that. It'll get that down to probably a touchdown by the time we see kickoff. So if you like the Jags, get it at 8.5. I still think the Chiefs win, but maybe we see 28-24 type finish.
I did see a stat there. Chiefs last 8 games against the spread, 2-6. 2-6. So that should tell you a lot about how the Chiefs
happen when every spread on the Chiefs is -10 to -30.
Yeah, that's true.
Crazy.
All right, Arrowhead Stadium. Chiefs had the bye. They got the rest. They were playing around at the end of the season. Jags coming in. First time in the playoffs. I'm taking Chiefs with the spread in this game. So Chiefs -8.5 is what I'm picking. I don't think this is going to be close. I think the Chiefs pull out to a 21-0 lead. They coast. They still win by about 10. I think the Chiefs are on a different level. I'm not saying the Jags are bad. I'm just saying the Jags just aren't that on that level. And I like what I like the Red Sea. I like them to play in the AFC Championship. I'll tell you a little bit more about why I don't have them in the Super Bowl, but we can talk Chiefs this weekend. I think they win this weekend and they advance swimmingly.
And even if the Jags lose, it's a very successful season.
Absolutely.
At the end of the day, we'll be like, wow. I mean, Jacksonville, clearly it was because the Chargers didn't show up in the second half. And it's like, or we could just give them credit and say, hey, they won their division when they weren't supposed to. Third best odds to win their division. They're behind Indy at the start of the year. So
crazy.
I mean, it's just that, like I said, that just proves how bad Urban Meyer was.
Yeah.
I mean, it just does.
The truth.
Calvin
the
Ridley next year.
Saturday night, though, we'll be having a doozy, an NFC East battle between the Eagles and the Giants. Eagles 7.5-point favorites at home against the Giants, your number 1 overall seed in the NFC. Just Luke, you're not the NFC East resident and unbiased in this game, so let's go straight to you first. How do you see this matchup playing out?
I actually see this as like a 28-25 type game. I think the Eagles have enough to do it. Jalen's legs are going to have to be crucial in this game. The defense can match up well with that offense, especially against Danny. They'll actually put a spy on Daniel Jones. So, I mean, which is crazy to me to think that at the beginning of the year, the Giants were in the playoffs and probably in the second round. I probably wouldn't have said that, especially with Brian Daboll just starting out. But he has this team ready to play. That Kayvon Thibodeau looks like a great draft pick as of right now for this year. That defense is balling with Wink Martindale. I've had my issues with Wink in the past, but he has his defense playing, and especially this time of year. I mean, he's going to send 5 and 6, and he's going to dare you to throw it. So I think the Eagles have enough to get past them, but it's going to be a dogfight. I say 28-25 Eagles.
Kenny.
I am picking the better coach team, and that is the New York Giants this week. I know that it is very difficult to beat a team 3 times in a season, let alone a divisional team 3 times in the same season. Philly did not exactly roll into this playoffs. Yes, I know Jalen Hurts was in the name. He was hurt. But 2 losses, you barely beat the Giants, who played their backups the entire game. Yes, I know they blew them out earlier in the season, but it feels like this is a bit of a different Giants team. They got some mojo. Danny finally looks like he's playing with some confidence. And I just think that this, if you get into a real gritty game with this team, I just think that favors the Giants 100%. It's my upset pick of the week. I'm going to roll with the Giants to get it done on the road.
All right, I'm going to go next. Okay, so I am taking Giants spread. I'm taking Giants plus 7.5, but I do have Eagles winning this game. I do think the Giants actually pull ahead first and kind of stun the Philadelphia Eagles to start this game. Very similar. Jalen Hurts not rolled on the injury report. Still kind of scares me. If you watch that Week 18 matchup, he does not look 100%. And matter of fact, if you want to see what I'm comparing it to, look at Dak Prescott running last night. He looked faster than Jalen Hurts Week 18. That should tell you a lot because Dak did not look fast. He just looked comfortable. So if you're taking that into consideration, Jalen Hurts' legs are not 100%, then that means Jalen Hurts has to rely a lot on the throw, and I think that's going to cost them early. I think Giants jump out, but the Eagles are at home. The Eagles are the better team in that atmosphere. I think the Eagles pull away and win this game at the end, but it's going to be a doozy of an NFC East matchup. Taking Eagles money line in this game, Giants spread if you like playing spreads, and that'll take us to Andrew.
Giants. And the only reason why I'm going with the Giants is because, listen, the Eagles, like Kenny alluded to, kind of rolled their way in at the end. It wasn't very good football. Now, obviously, everybody's Jalen Hurts this, Jalen Hurts. Yeah, we get it. But, I mean, here's the thing. Like, teams that have done well so far in these wildcard games have been able to use the run wisely. Now, Miles Sanders, you never know what you're getting with him. Either it's 100 yards or it's 10. Or you got Boston Scott in there, and he goes for like weirdly 4 touchdowns or, -4 yards. Like, it's really, really weird. But after seeing Saquon Barkley perform this weekend, I don't know if Philly can stop that. Like, I know everybody says that they have a great gap defense, but Saquon looks like old Saquon. And that should scare some people. So I think the momentum's there, and Daniel is just playing good football. He's smart. He's making good reads on his times. I'm rolling with the Giants in this one, man. The Eagles, I don't know, dude. I don't want to say they're a fraudulent team. They were number 1 in the NFC, so I can't.
Fraud.
I'm gonna roll with them. I'm gonna roll with it.
I like the plug. All right, that takes us to Sunday, and by Sunday, if you haven't had enough football by then, it's going to get crazier. Bills start off as the afternoon game, 5-point favorites against the Cincinnati Bengals. As we talked about earlier, both teams rolling in off of almost scary weekends. So, Kenny, we start with you in the AFC matchup.
So this spread will be a field goal by kickoff. but the fact that it's -5 right now tells me something, because I thought this was going to open at a field goal, and by the time we got to kickoff, we would have a pick 'em. I'm going to roll with Buffalo to win and cover. They haven't been the most impressive, and I think it's the Kansas City effect. I think it's just you're so comfortable against teams, and you can just pour points on them, and they can't do that with Cincinnati. And I think they're going to trade scores. But at the end of the day, we can't act like Joe Burrow's been some god in the playoffs. Yeah, he's got a 4-1 record, but he's also only thrown 6 touchdowns in 5 playoff games. He's heavily leaned on his defense at times. I just think that Allen's going to come in. He's going to throw 3 or 4 touchdowns. The better quarterback is going to win out in this game. And I actually lean Buffalo's defense as well. I know they're a little bit banged up, but I like some of the plays that they made against Miami. I think they could have a crucial turnover in this game as well. So give me the Bills to win, probably in a 31-24 finish.
I absolutely love the take, and I'm going to piggyback on it. I have Bills winning this game and covering as well. I have the Bills at home with a statement win. I actually think they are going to trade scores as well, but I don't think it's going to get close even in the third quarter. I think the Bills pull away. It's going to be a bit of a shocker. There's always one game that's just kind of like, wow, didn't expect that to happen this weekend, and this is that game. The Buffalo Bills are going to be making a statement that we are the team to beat in the AFC going into the AFC Championship, and it's absolutely the truth. The Chiefs are going to be having to hold par the following weekend. And I do have the Bills going to the Super Bowl. That's a whole nother conversation for next week. So I have the Bills winning this game, winning it handily. Josh Allen will be showing exactly why he's going to be the favorite to keep going and advancing to the Super Bowl and the AFC Championship. Just keep a lookout. This is his weekend. Andrew.
Yeah, I said it earlier. I'm going to go with the Bengals, boys. And the only reason why I'm going to go with the Bengals is because I just think their defense, and I know we're talking about defenses, they're both not great, but I think I got to give the edge to Cincinnati. I mean, Buffalo got lucky a few times that Gesicki and Jalen Waddle had huge second half drops. Like, they were great passes by Skylar Thompson, but like they have some pretty soft coverage, and Joe Burrow takes advantage of that. He's very good at it. The one thing that they really need to do is get Joe Mixon involved and early. I mean, realistically, I like the edge over Singletary in the running back game. So I really, really hope that they utilize that at some point, because this could be a guy that gets 3 touchdowns and saves them big time from having Joe having to throw all the time, right? We talked about, or Kenny alluded to it, 6 touchdowns isn't great in 5 games. No, but if you can get Joe Mixon going and make them, again, clock management is the biggest thing when you're playing the Bills. You can't give them any extra time, but I like the Bengals in this game.
And just Luke, going over to you.
Yeah, I mean, I think we all knew this clash was coming, especially after the events of a couple weeks ago. Now, we all kind of seen this game coming down the pipeline. I feel like the Buffalo Bills are just playing fuck around and find out, and I feel like the Bengals just have the better running game this time of year. They're playing better defense, and they have the better running game, so I'm going to go with the Bengals.
Got it. 2 Bills, 2 Bengals, and we're split. We have no BCMG guarantees going into the final game of the week. Again, thank you to everybody who watches this show as we go to the final and probably most watched game for the week, and that is right, 49ers and Cowboys. Niners open up 3.5-point favorites at home against the Dallas Cowboys, and I know most of you are watching intrigued to this conversation. I'm just going to go first here because you don't have to guess where I'm leaning, so let's just talk about the actual game. Cowboys money line is the way I'm leaning on this game. I'm going to absolutely bet it. Dallas Cowboys come in with some momentum. They're going to have the better quarterback. They're going to have a revenge game from last season when they were knocked out. This is the same team who's trying to prove they belong. I think the Cowboys make the NFC Championship after this weekend and meet whoever wins. We do have an NFC East, all NFC East championship is going to be renamed after this season to the NFC East Championship. And the Dallas Cowboys will go into San Francisco and shock the world that they are the team to beat right now in the NFC. I said it when we were leaning and going towards the end of the season that Dallas Cowboys have the best roster. The Niners probably have the better roster overall, but the Cowboys have the most talented of the two, in my opinion, for offense on the offensive side, but the Niners are better on the defensive side. So it's going to be an interesting battle to watch the two teams duke it out. Yeah, I can absolutely debate that all day. So I'm going to take Cowboys to win this one, and the Cowboys to win 28-24 on the road in a game in which Dak Prescott has a game-winning drive to win it when they're down 24-21. I'll go to Andrew.
I don't hate your take. I'm going to take the Cowboys as well. Now, I know it's probably a homer pick, and I get it, and people are going to criticize me for that, but here's the thing. Last year, the Cowboys nearly beat the Niners in the playoffs. That's a thing. Some weird officiating. Let's not forget that whole conundrum that happened before, right? So, again, it's one of those games that I'm sure Dak's going to take personally, and he's going to come out and be the better quarterback. I mean, give me Dak over Brock Purdy. I'm not saying Brock Purdy hasn't had this unbelievable run for no reason. He has been great. His ball control has been smart. He's got a great O-line. But at the end of the day, I think that the Cowboys are just going to send too much on him, and he's going to struggle. He's going to look like a rookie for the first time this year. And it's going to happen in the biggest game of his career when he's playing a defense that can get there. So I do like the Cowboys in this game. And, yeah, NFC East final. Let's go.
Just Luke.
Well, I'm taking the 49ers, obviously. I mean, just to be that guy.
Nick Bosa, right?
Kyle Shanahan doesn't blow games until it really counts. So he's not in a title game yet. So I'll take the 49ers. They have the better running game. That's what it comes down to. They have the better running game, and the Dallas Cowboys can't stop the run. And that's what it comes down to in the playoffs. I mean,
ask Leonard Fournette and Davis White how that went.
They're okay. Christian McCaffrey and Elijah Mitchell are 10 times the running backs.
I mean, it's kind
Fournette
of
in them.
I get it, but I know, but I could say this in the same breath. Tony Pollard does what Christian McCaffrey does. Ezekiel Elliott does what Elijah Mitchell does. So I would say it's obviously McCaffrey's elite for sure, but similar plays.
Okay, but they've given up running yards all year long. How's that Dallas Cowboy defense?
Ish. What is it? What are we against run? Kenny usually has the stats, so I'm waiting for Kenny.
I guess I have to ask you, Luke. Kenneth Walker just ran all over San Francisco.
Fact.
In an interdivisional game.
But he still ran all over them. They're going to have the film on that.
I could take one game, Ernest, and talk about one game. I can too. Historically, this year, Dallas has not been good against the run. And that's what Kyle Shanahan feeds off of. And that's the way his offense rolls. I'm not going to say they're going to blow him out by 10.
I think if San Francisco is going to beat him, Purdy's going to have to do it on the ground.
Yeah,
they looked terrible in the first half last week. They did. I'm not going to sugarcoat it that. But they got the running game going. Brandon Ayuk finally decided to show up. They got Deebo Samuel involved, and George Kittle actually looked like George Kittle of old. Like he was back to being normal George Kittle.
Yeah.
I mean, I know he's a rookie. He hasn't faced this kind of pressure before, and it all depends on how Michael Parsons is feeling.
True.
That worries me with his ankle. It does. I mean, he's going to play. He's absolutely going to play. Whether or not he'll be effective is the big wild card in that game.
Yeah,
I'm still going to take the Niners.
Yeah, it's a good pick.
This is probably one of the games I'm actually this game and the Cincinnati game. Those are the only two I'm actually going to watch this weekend.
All right, Kenny, let's hear it.
So I picked Tampa last week. Fine to be wrong. No issue with that. We have the better quarterback. They have the better run game. They've got the better weapons. They've got the better defense. The numbers say that across the board. And at the end of the day, we're still a terribly coached situational football team. And I think there's going to come a point in this game where Dallas is going to have a critical moment. And I just think Mike McCarthy is going to get out-coached. And it's unfortunate. It's part of the reason why I wasn't actually going to be that upset if Tampa won, because in my mind, Mike McCarthy would be gone. And I think that needs to happen in order for this team to advance further in the playoffs than the divisional round. So I'm going to go with San Fran this week. I think Dallas still covers. I think this is a field goal game. I think we could see 24-21 here. But San Fran's the hottest team in football right now. I think they've won 11 or 12 straight. They've got a quarterback that's playing well. The key to success here isn't going to be this Dallas run game because San Fran is second against the run this year. I don't care that they had one off week against Kenneth Walker. It's still a great run defense. Dak has to play flawless again. If he goes back-to-back flawless weeks, awesome. Like, I'll be thrilled if Dallas wins. I just don't think it's going to happen. So give me 49ers to win, but Dallas covers 3.5.
All right, so no BCMG guarantee picks this week. The group is split on most games. I think every game we had 2-2, so it's very, very much a close game. There's Andrew's take on Pollard to CMC.
And listen. That's not the expression there, my friend. I was saying that they are similar in the aspect that they are both great pass catchers out of the backfield. They're both very explosive. But I even said it. McCaffrey does have the advantage, but I would say Zeke is better than Elijah Mitchell. Like, let's give some props there where we can. And I like him in the red zone. So, I wasn't saying that McCaffrey and Pollard are the same guy. I'm just saying stylistically, they're the same type of running back.
I'm very excited for this weekend's games, and we only have 4 games to cover, so that ends our Pick'em segment, and that wraps up today's show. No BCMG guarantees, so no odds to put out there on the board, although Kenny was keeping track. Sorry, Kenny, to ruin your night. Let's start us off. Just Luke, tell people where they could find you.
Yeah, you can find me on Twitter at KingofHearts82. Got some things cooking up in the lab around here. Might be dropping some new things. Maybe a pod. We'll see. Bringing the boys back together for
What? Bro, what are you talking about, man?
Yeah.
Tell people what you're talking about,
Yeah,
Luke.
absolutely. We're gonna bring the boys back for Mandalorian season 3? Bringing them all back. Obviously, we saw Marvel's Quantum Mania this past weekend. They dropped their trailer for that. So me, Steve, Mark, and Tyler are all going to get back together, drop some pod, try to get that together. Me, Tyler, and Corbin are trying to get some Cigar Life stuff going, try to get some new sponsorships, try to get, the pod going back up and going. So we got a lot cooking up down here. We'll see what pans out. We'll see. I've made a lot of calls to Mark already. God bless you, Mark. Appreciate you. But we'll see where it goes. And as always, Ernest, I'm going to preach. Please call somebody, guys. Always. If you want to save a life, just go to the link in my bio, wonderful.com. You can always go there. You can send a box. You can save a box. Who knows? You actually might save a life this weekend. And like I said, always go to Google as well. There's the links for all the suicide awareness hotlines. And pretty much just talk to one of us. If it really comes down to it, we're available too.
DM away. Absolutely. Thank you, Just Luke. Appreciate the plug as always. And thank you for sharing. Andrew Sutton, tell the people where they can find you.
Yeah, you can find us at the Boomtown Pod, all things MMA. We're going to be, we're back on Monday because we finally have a UFC event. Holy Jesus, it feels like forever that I didn't have something to talk about. So, really looking forward to UFC this weekend, 284. We got Glover Teixeira and Jamal Hill for the light heavyweight championship. We got Davison Fierro taking on Brandon Moreno 4. This is a crazy, every time they fight, it's crazy for the flyweight championship. Gilbert Burns, Neil Magny, Lauren Murphy, Jessica Andrade, and then Paul Craig and Johnny Walker. You bet your ass we're going to cover all of those things on Monday, and it's just going to be good to be back, man. I miss my MMA people. So, yeah, we'll be back. Can't wait, man. Thanks for having us again.
Absolutely. My co-host, Kenny Cotterell, tell the people where they can find you.
You can follow me at HedgePod on all social platforms. Live show Monday through Friday morning. Hoop streams Saturday morning and hockey stream Saturday afternoon as well. Appreciate you having me on. Hopeful Dallas wins. If they don't, not going to let it ruin my life. At the end of the day, it is just football. So hope everyone has a fantastic and safe weekend.
Absolutely. Thank you, Kenny. Of course, I'm your host, Ernest Doc E. Silva. Excited that you guys joined us for the duration of the show. Thank you guys for listening. Thank you guys for being a part of our family here at ITL, powered by Blue Collar Media Group. We appreciate all of you, and we bid you guys adieu. Have a great night. Good luck on your picks. If your teams are still dancing, I hope they win this week, just not if they're in San Francisco. Have a great one, guys.